Alright, hello everyone. This is just a quick intro to my YouTube channel, Crappie Engineer, and I'm excited to share this topic with you, despite my monotone voice. Thank you very much. Alright, the famous French philosopher Albert Camus wrote the founding text of absurdist philosophy, and the whole thing is built around one Greek myth, the defiant Sisyphus. He continuously cheats death and ticks off the gods until they sentence him to push a boulder up a mountain, only to watch it roll back down right before it reaches the top. Forever. Moo's real question for us is this. Life is repetitive, and there's no final payoff. No cosmic reason for any of it, so how should us, the humans of this earth, respond? After reading Camus' myth of Sisyphus, I couldn't help but to think that some great answers to these questions were sitting with Spongebob, one of my favorite shows of all time. Hello, this is a test on my mic. Delete. Delete this from the start. Alright, real quick before we get into the Spongebob crew, I wanted to draw a clear line between absurdism and nihilism, because people often mix these ideas up. Nihilism says that nothing matters, and because of that, nothing matters. Full stop, that's the entire philosophy. Absurdism, however, is a completely different claim. It says the universe was never going to hand you a built-in reason for anything, and yet here you are. You still do your own things, and you still want your life to add up to something. That gap between wanting meaning and the universe simply not providing it with an open arm, that's what Camus calls the absurd. And here's the part people usually get wrong about him. His answer isn't give up, and it isn't pretend it matters anyway. His answer is keep pushing the boulder, on purpose, and without needing an outside reason to justify it. That's where the famous line comes from, one must imagine Sisyphus happy. Not because the boulder stops rolling back down, because it just doesn't. It's because the struggle itself, done completely, was the only win ever there in the first place. Okay, now SpongeBob. This is a guy who actually answers the question, not just some side character we're using for a bit. Look at his life. He does the same job every day for years. He flips patties at the Krusty Krab. He has no promotion coming, and there's no version of the show where he finally makes it and escapes this 9 to 5 hell. That's the boulder. That's Sisyphus, just wearing a square pair of pants. Here's what's wild though. He's the happiest guy on the show. And it's not some forced positivity thing where he's gritting his teeth and pretending it's fine. He actually loves flipping the patty. He's the best at it. He absolutely loves it, and he gets excited about doing it well. And that's ultimately Camus' whole essay, just acted out by a sponge. He's not waiting around for the job to prove itself worth doing. He decided it was worth doing, and that was that. Now, here's Squidward. He works at the same restaurant as SpongeBob. He works the register as a cashier. Same counter and similar boulder. Except something's completely different in his head. Squidward ultimately thinks he's better than this job, that it's beneath him. It's just an insult to put up with while his real life, the clarinet, and his art waits for him at his tiki hut house. He's convinced the escape is coming eventually for him, except it never comes. And that's the trap he's stuck behind that counter every single day anyway, so he doesn't get the boulder happy version SpongeBob has. He's also famously terrible at the clarinet, so he doesn't get to that escape either. Nothing. He just loses on both ends of the deal. That's the tragic answer to Camus' question. Refuse to accept the boulder as your life, and you don't get freed from it. You just suffer through it twice as hard. And I would say that this is the actual lesson that's buried in Squidward's character. The boulder never goes away because you resent it. Resenting it just adds a second boulder on top of the first one. What actually frees you is embracing the push, doing the rep completely instead of holding out for something else. The task itself doesn't disappear, and never does. What disappears is the extra suffering you were stacking on top of it. There's no version where you skip the boulder, and there's no free lunch, you just have to keep pushing. Alright, now, this is the guy who actually made me want to make this video in the first place. Plankton the Plankton. His entire existence is one repeated action. steal the formula, fail, get humiliated, head home, wake up tomorrow, and try over again with a new scheme. Forever. There's no version of the show where he wins and the story ends. Even the one time when he does actually steal the formula, he still gets foiled in the end. The whole premise runs on him failing forever. So structurally, he's the most literal Sisyphus of the entire cast. Same boulder, same mountain every single day. But here's where he splits from SpongeBob completely. He's never made peace with any of it. Every failure is rage, humiliation. He goes right back to plotting the next scheme out of pure spite, not joy, not curiosity, just pure spite. SpongeBob is Sisyphus happy, and Plankton is a version of Sisyphus who never got the memo really. He's just full of rage. He does the same task, same eternity, but he spends every day of it furious instead of at peace. And that's the actual tragedy here. It was never really about the failing. It's that he can't stop demanding the boulder means something other than what it actually is. Now, Sandy's a little different than the rest of these characters. She's not really wrestling with the boulder in the way that the others are. Sandy is a scientist. Sandy is a Texan squirrel living in an underwater tree dome, training constantly and holding herself to insane physical and mental discipline. She doesn't wait around for a reason to justify any of that, though. She just shows up and does the work each and every day because the discipline itself is the point. And, this isn't really absurdism, this is more of stoicism, and it's a completely different philosophy, similar posture. You don't need the universe to owe you anything if the structure itself is the reason you show up. Alright, now I have a quick pair of Patrick and Mr. Krabs, because they're both doing something different from everyone else. And they're not answering the question, they're completely dodging it, I'd say. Patrick just never asked it in the first place. He doesn't examine his own life. He doesn't suffer over it either. He plays out his life as a laugh in the whole show, sure, but that's a real option on the table. The unexamined life. Some people generally just don't go looking for the question in the first place. On the other hand, we have Mr. Krabs who handles it a little differently, and he swaps the whole thing out for money. Profit becomes the metric that replaces the actual question, so he never has to sit with any of it, or any of this absurd stuff at all. And honestly, that's not just a crab thing. There's a lot of people in this world who run the exact same ideal. Okay, so here's where I actually land on this, and I'm not just going to speak about the cartoon version. I would say that this channel is kind of like my own boulder, and if I'm being totally honest, probably going to have a similar format for each video, and it's going to be me speaking over a game. No predefined destination or where it suddenly turns into something bigger for me. And for a while that bothered me a little, waiting for it to become some polished thing before I felt okay starting. But that's the whole lesson for me, right? Is that I don't want to wait for the version 1 of anything that I do to be completely perfect. I just want to get out the rep fully and let that be enough for me. And that's a SpongeBob move, not a Squidward one, right? So the next time you're stuck doing something, same boring rep of something with no end in sight, the question was never, when does this end? I would say it's whether you're gonna be like SpongeBob or like Plankton full of rage. Howdy guys, thank you for watching this video. It was a good amount of fun, good amount of experience to make, and appreciate you watching it pretty much to the end. All I'm going to have left is the left of this balloons gameplay here in the background. And yeah, thank you. Like and subscribe, and I will make a new video soon.